Have you all started the meeting? Because you're on mute.
Alan, I'm checking to see you're there.
I'm here.
There, now we can hear you. Sorry, we couldn't hear you until just now.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Jim Keough. I'm the chair of the Lacey Historical Commission, and I'm calling to order the meeting for this evening, August 21st. We'll start with doing a roll call. I know that just going down the line, it looks like Kimberly Gates is here. Is that correct, Kimberly?
I sure am.
Alan Tyler is also joining us online. Is that right, Alan?
Yep, I'm here.
We have here in the meeting room, John Halverson and Kevin Wyckoff and myself. So that gives us 5 people, so we have quorum. To start off for the evening, the next part is we're going to be doing the land acknowledgement. I want to ask Kevin if he could read that for us.
Sure. The Lacey Historic Commission meets on the ancestral land of the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek, including the Nisqually Indian Tribe and Squaxin Island Tribe. We acknowledge and remember those tribal people not recognized today who were absorbed or relocated into other tribes for survival. We recognize the ancestors and their descendants who are still here. We recognize and respect the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek as the traditional stewards of this land since time immemorial, and their role today in taking care of these lands in perpetuity. We recognize and have the responsibility to call to attention to the histories of dispossession, forced removal, and abridged treaty rights that allowed our nation, state, and city to develop as they have today. We recommend the community members read the Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854.
Thank you, Kevin. My next question, we're going to be looking at the agenda. Are there any suggested changes to the agenda as it stands? Hearing none, I'm going to assume that we are approved, but I will ask for an approval. All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
We need a motion.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Kimberly. Do I have a second?
Here, second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody vote no? Any disapprovals in that? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. The next item we'll be looking at is our May 15th, 2024 meeting minutes. Hopefully most of you have read those. Are there any suggested changes to those? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Looks like Alan said aye. Kevin, John, the meeting minutes from May 15th are approved. Do we have any public comments?
We did not receive any ahead of time. And do we have any online that are registered? None online.
Okay,
And then I don't think that the folks that are here for public comment. Okay, great.
so then I think we move on to our first item.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, Alan, could you turn up your volume? Because we can't hear your voice very well.
Yeah, I'll try to.
He said he'll try to.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, is that better?
Nope.
Worse?
I can hear you, but just barely.
Oh, no. How do you turn it up?
You might try going out and coming back in. Depends that helps. We still have a quorum.
Or try a different microphone.
It says I'm in practice stuff. What does that mean?
Well,
So the other trick would be for Alan might be to click the raise hand if he has something to say and then type in comments and that way.
We can't use the chat feature for public access.
Okay, I was saying I might reread whatever he said. As a way to get past. I'm just looking at a workaround here.
Yeah, he can use the raise hand, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I can barely hear him, so we could also
Repeat.
repeat it back, yeah.
Okay,
If you
it
can't.
just seems like
Started.
one way or another, if we can, if we can repeat it back into the meeting, then we've got it someplace.
Yeah.
My computer.
That'll work.
Okay, so let's start with the RAC kiosk panel review.
Yes, thank you. And you may have noticed that Erin Quinn Valcho, our museum curator, is not able to be here tonight. But I'm Jen Burbidge, Director of Parks, Culture, and Recreation for the city. I didn't get to introduce earlier. And with me here tonight is Dana Bowers, and she's an associate planner with the Thurston County Community Planning and Economic Development Department. So Dana, thank you so much for being here and for joining us for this conversation. So I'll just give a little bit of background, and I just super want to acknowledge and appreciate Dana and all of the work that she has done on these panels and her leadership in working with the Thurston County Historical Commission on this amazing project. We know that it's been a long-awaited project, and we're so excited to have the panels before you commissioners tonight. I also want to acknowledge how much work Erin Quinn Valcho has done getting these panels to where they need to be and working collaboratively with Dana. Super appreciate her knowledge and expertise in researching, proofing, and writing. I mean, she's just a fantastic historian and they've just done a great job. The kiosk is already constructed. As you know, we've reported out. So it's physically there at the Regional Athletic Complex. And then the next steps to completing the project are to get the panels approved, printed, and installed. The Thurston County Historical Commission has now completed their review, and our museum curator has completed her review as well. Now, as promised, we're seeking approval tonight from the Lacey Historical Commission before the panels are printed. We have included them in your packet, and we hope everyone has had a chance to review them. I'm gonna do my best to answer any questions you might have. Dana's here to answer questions, and we can also pull them up on the screen and look through. So yeah, with that, did you have any comments before we get started, Dana?
No, I'm really glad to be here tonight and thank you so much for taking the time to look through them. Happy to answer any questions.
So I'm gonna share screen here.
Yeah, it was-
There are 8 panels. And so I'm happy just to scroll through them if that's what you'd like me to do, or I can go to a specific one if you have a specific question. Try to get it. Trying to get my zoom out, but this little guy is blocking my. Did you know how to get rid of this little doodad? So I can zoom out.
Hit the line of the 4 options.
Oh, just over the top of it? Yep. Thank you. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Chair, would you like me to go to a particular one or just scroll through them?
I think scroll through them and I have a couple of suggestions, but they're not on this one, for instance, so.
So St. Martin's University. It just takes just a moment for the screen to catch up here, the clarity. Maybe. Huh. Maybe I'll just make it a tiny bit bigger and see if that helps. Oh, wow. Okay, it's just a lag here.
Yes.
Okay, bear with me. I go back out here.
Well, it says you're practicing.
Okay, it's catching up now, so
There we go.
there we go, yeah. Go one more time. It should, I think it's just such a large file. So there's the Nisqually tribe, the Nisqually Delta. Give it just a moment to catch up.
While we're waiting, I was impressed, having been involved in some of the discussion and writings, at how comprehensive the coverage and the pictures were that have ultimately come from into this. I was quite impressed.
We had some great writers working on it. We're really glad to have Bill and his expertise and Chris.
Yeah,
They did a great job.
there you go.
There we got some clarity on that one. Beautiful. Let's see. Gotta give it just a second to catch up here.
That's it.
Evergreen Ballroom.
That's one of the best fire pictures I've seen.
Oh, there you go.
Thanks to Lacey, Fire District 3.
Yeah, it's a great picture.
Who did you get the posters from?
The posters were from a site, I think it's called Pacific Northwest Music. It is cited there.
Pacific Northwest
I can't read.
Band.com.
Yeah. And that was the historic commissioners who got those resources.
Cool. Regional Athletic Complex.
Oh, that sharpened right up.
That one was fast, yeah.
Great photo, Pat.
Yeah, I like that one too. And then we have Joint Base Lewis McCord.
On this one, I had a couple of small comments, under the displacement of tribal members, that first paragraph is, there's a couple of language pieces in there that I think needed a little bit of clarification. Wait for that to pop up.
Yeah, let's try to.
So where it says unfortunately that X number of acres, I would have probably added the acres contain 71% of the Nisqually reservation, and were not Pierce counties to donate or condemn.
Right, we're not Pierce County, so okay.
So nevertheless, they ruled in favor and they were forced to leave with only 2 weeks. So I made a couple of quick notes if you want those. I have.
I'd appreciate
Right.
that. Very well, Jim.
So
Yeah.
figuring otherwise it's too hard to keep track of these things.
Well, I'm trying to scribble and then also like
Yes.
keep track, so I really appreciate
I
that.
have one more thing that I've got to note when we get later further down. But that was the only thing noted there, is I actually thought that was quite interesting. There were a lot of things I knew about Fort Lewis, but there were several things that were brand new to me, so.
Right. We're hoping, I mean, our community is well researched and we have the museum, which is such a great resource, so we
Yeah.
are hoping that new things can come out. Did anyone else have comments on the previous panel, the JBLM?
Oh, there, that one came in. City of Lacey. Some nice photos there. We're all familiar with these ones, aren't we?
Yeah,
And then we have the historic points of interest map.
and I have one last note on this one.
Sure,
And that is that number 13, the Miller Sylvania State Park,
yes.
there's no 13.
On the actual.
There's no 13 on the map?
No.
Oh, dang, okay.
Anyway, I'll just send that.
Add a 13. Thank you. Good catch. Fantastic.
You probably were superstitious about that number.
Well, I hated to end on 13, that's for sure, but goodness, you know, it's just,
But it's a great map for showing where all those pieces are, and I thought it was very good. Like I said, I just sort of went kind of cruising around it and went,
good catch. Thank you.
so.
Well, and that's why we have all these reviews. It's so important.
Oh, there's so many ways. There's so many little minutia details when you're doing that. It's
Right.
quite easy to go astray.
I really appreciate it. I know the commissioners do as well.
So I'm interested in whether our members have any comments about the panels, having looked at them. Either overall comments, particulars that you saw as you went along. So I guess I'd like to open the floor for that and give Dana any feedback and Jen any feedback on those that you might have.
It's very impressive. It's a good job. I don't have any corrections or anything. I wouldn't
Yeah.
dare.
Kimberly, Alan?
I don't have anything to add.
Nope, me either.
Alan, you said you don't have any?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
I went through the extra effort of having my wife read it as somebody who's not on the commission and just kind of trying to get somebody who's not. I'm the historic person of the group and just to try to get a feedback, and she was very impressed with them, so.
So am I. Yeah. Well done.
So maybe consideration for approval as amended? Or
Sure.
as per the suggested.
Sure,
amendments?
yes, I would be open to a motion for approval of the panels from our side so that they can go forward with those. I would suggest that if you would add an amendment for the minor changes that I'd suggested, I appreciate that. And I think in fixing those 2 cents, I leave that up to you to do it, just that I thought there was a couple of small pieces in there that needed to make, just to make it smoother.
I'll motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They are approved. So Dana, how long do you think it'll take to actually get these produced and put into the kiosk?
We do have a couple of the photos. We wanted to make sure they were all approved all the way through before we went ahead with the paying for permissions and
Sure,
getting the copyright. So that'll probably, I'm hoping that only takes about a couple weeks.
okay,
And so after that, we're looking at, the Historic Commission wants to review them again to make sure, you know, any changes that you've made that they can review that and approve. And then we also have, quite a few, I don't wanna say changes or additions, but there's more mentions of the Nisqually tribe throughout all of the panels. And they did only see the Nisqually tribe panel, and so I would like for them to review the whole thing.
makes sense.
Yeah, so I especially with the displacement comment and JBLM and a couple of the other ones that, you know, really do talk about the history
Right.
of their relationship with the tribe, then I think it's very honors, you know, their voice to
Sure.
have them review it. So then barring the tribe's review, actually we'll probably have the tribe review before Historic Commission's final review, just in case there are any tweaks and changes. It will hopefully go out to printing. We're really hoping we can print it by the end of September and get them up. So that means maybe hopefully mid-October, we can have an unveiling.
That'd be great.
And if we're having this rain now, that means the clouds are gonna be empty by mid-October, right?
Right, absolutely.
It- what I remember is that you could usually count on it not raining on October 15th.
Woohoo!
I have my oldest son's birthday is on the 15th, never rained on his birthday parties.
Never.
On the other hand, the following weekend almost always rained.
Okay, well, that would be my goal.
Well, we did have if you'll recall, the Jackson Goose Pond marker dedication and the woodwork, that was in October. It was October 4th. I don't know.
Right, that's early
remember the
enough.
date. And it was a beautiful sunny day and we walked the trail
Right,
down to the marker.
Yeah, the split
We
seems
may get
to occur
lucky.
somewhere in that
Yeah.
mid or right after midpoint.
And this is so long awaited and such a beautiful project that I think people will come out rain or shine.
Well, that's great.
Thank
That's
you.
great. Well, thank you.
No worries. And I'm happy to excuse myself and let you have the rest of your meeting.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much,
A
Dana.
gift from me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
So I think the next item on our agenda is new acquisitions.
Great, I am going to share my screen again. A little better luck with the quality there. There we go. Yes, your picture. Okay, well, thank you. Again, I'm giving this report in the museum curator's absence tonight. So included in your packet are the new acquisitions as presented by our curator. And before you consider a motion to approve, Erin really wanted me to give a shout out and a huge thank you to a new volunteer who has been helping. She's been coming in weekly to help Erin with collections. Her name is Sarah Duche. And she's just been a wonderful addition to our volunteer team. And so we just wanted to make sure and acknowledge her. And before you, again, we've got the acquisitions as presented. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to take a look at them.
So does anybody have any comments off the bat about the acquisitions?
Look good. I've heard a lot about the Lacey Burger Bar.
Yep. And I would welcome a motion to approve these acquisitions.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And Alan, do you want to unmute? We can hear you.
Aye.
Okay, and we heard it.
Look at it.
Okay,
Look at it.
any nays? I don't think so. I think we counted all five, so. Okay, I think we're good there. So we'll move on to the next thing, the Lacey Historical Society Support Letter Request.
Okay. Well, thank you. You'll recall, this letter came before you a few months ago. And we had received some suggestions from Cheryl Melquist, who's actually here tonight. We committed to coordinating with her and bringing the updated letter back to Historical Commission. So we have it here in your packet tonight. The two updates to the letter were to remove Cheryl's name and also to add the Lacey Historical Society here in this section to the list of community activities that the Popkeys were involved in. So it says including Lacey Lions, Winifred Schmidt Orthopedic Guild, Lacey Historical Society, and the Olympia Eagles. Erin worked with Ms. Malcolmus and they're in agreement that this is the final wording. So we're looking for Jim, your signature as chair and the board's approval of this letter of support.
Any discussion?
Should I point out the last line, the last name. Oaks.
Oh, you're right. Needs a P.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay, so
Catch.
potentially as an approval as amended
Yep,
with that little typo.
Other than that, it's a great letter.
Good catch.
Are you making the
I
motion?
will motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Somebody else has to turn.
any further discussion?
Great project.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Sounds like we have an approval. Jen, I mean, just from, basically, I tend to volunteer on Thursday mornings, so if you guys have the letter tomorrow morning, I can just stop in and sign it.
Sure.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I can, yes, we'll make that happen.
we could, yeah, like, just let me know.
We'll do it like tonight.
So I'll try to just check in tomorrow morning when I come in.
Okay, and then if you don't, I didn't quite hear Commissioner Tyler. You might just ask all if there's any opposed.
Alan, did you vote yes or no?
Well, I said yes.
Okay,
Hey, we hear you.
Thank you.
okay,
Yeah, that's
sorry,
better.
we didn't pick that up, so we just wanted to verify. With that, I think we're moving on to reports, Lacey Historical Society.
Thank you.
This is Cheryl
I'm
Malkus.
Yes.
She's here from the society.
So first of all, I would like to thank the commission for recognizing the Popkeys subdivision and also to thank Erin for tweaking the letter just a teeny bit. And it's the The subdivision is in a really close to downtown Lacey area at this point, with Lacey having grown around it. So I really appreciate your support. And so the Lacey Historical Society will journey on and see if there's some sort of marker or some such thing that can be posted so that it'll be recognized in the community. One thing that the society had during the summer was Kendra, a society member, talked to a neighbor who had a daughter who was home from Central Washington University. And this gal volunteered to write articles for the society's Facebook page. It was kind of given to her as a free rein, and she was encouraged to check with her friends. And so they went about writing articles this summer, at least, and the gal's name is Lily, of things that they'd always wondered about. So if you have a chance to look at the Facebook page, you will really see some wonderful articles. Lily is born and raised here in Lacey, and she went to Lydia Jane Hawk Elementary. And they were always curious, well, how did that get its name? And they did a research and they found out that Lydia Jane Hawk is the only elementary school that has 3 names in its name. And so they went from there and they found information, background about how it came to be and the Hawk family. And so she did Lydia Jane Hawk Elementary. They were also wondering about Thompson Place, Tanglewile, how those come about to be. And so she wrote another article. She did research. She used the archives, Washington State Archives, and things from the museum. And so they learned about that. And I learned a lot about reading her articles, to be honest with you. So then they also delved into Thurston County Fair and the background of how that got started. And they also wondered, well, what's that building there right across from the senior center on Pacific? Well, that was the Lois McKinney structure. And they learned about that. And then from that, learned that it proceeded on to Lois and the Lake Lois and the Lake Lois Habitat Reserve. They ventured into learning about the racetrack. And she just did a really outstanding job. Unpaid volunteer, she volunteered, but she did a great job of really researching and finding out information she and her friends were interested in. And the society, of course, is looking for younger members to join and to learn about history, but also to have them understand that what's happening right now is history, and that when they get older and they look back on this time, that'll be their history too. So it's a win-win for Lily and her friends that did this, and a win-win for us. And we have some wonderful articles on our Facebook page if you take a look at it when you have time. And lots of thanks to our society member, Kendra, for talking to her neighbors. Okay, the tree on the Popkiss subdivision. The species of the tree, popular name is tulip popular. But it also is Leodendron tulipfera, species name. And it's been, let's see which. Pardon me, but I forgot which department is doing the tree.
Oh, community and economic development.
Oh, there we go. So, anyway, information about the tree. It was posted earlier in the month for, has a historical notice that was posted. John Jacek and I thought, well, must be online. Well, it wasn't online. It was actually by the tree. So, by the time I saw it and we figured it out, we had a week left to submit some information to take care of it. They asked for comments, so we worked on that. The tree, let me show you some pictures. This is winter. And on the back, I had a map that showed where the tree was on the property. This is the tree in August. She's a beauty. And on the back, this is looking down Selma Street. And here's the tree. And then Kevin McFarland took a picture of a bloom from the tree this spring. And the species of the tree, it's usually not found west of the Mississippi. This tree is suspected to be at least 70 years old. Its height is estimated at 65 feet. And of course, right now it's in the heart of the business area with a strip mall area right behind it anymore. But it still stands, it's still growing. There's no other vegetation around to really obstruct its sight line. And so what we are doing at this point, we submitted our comments, but part of the equation is multi-care because it's on multi-care property. And so John Jacek has not heard back from multi-care at this point, but he's in contact. So when we hear back from them, then the next step will go forward. So it's in process. So anyway, that's our tree. Coming up is our annual society meeting on September 5th. You don't have to be a member to come if you'd like to come. And it's going to start at 5 o'clock. We're going to have 2 speakers. One is John Donaldson, who was the South Sound Mall's original marketing director. He's going to talk about the past of the mall's history. And then Rich Wall, the Lacey's current city manager, is going to talk about going forward in the future for the city of Lacey. So, and if you'd like to come, we'd be glad to have you. Doors open at 5. The business meeting begins at 5:30. And we also serve cake and coffee, if that's a yummy thing for you. So, I think that's everything that I have for a report.
Well done. Thank you.
So any questions for Cheryl? hear any, so I guess we will move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Kimberly, could you update us real quickly on the policy steps committee?
The Policy Steps Committee is currently on hiatus.
Okay. So while we've got your mic on, why don't you just start us off on our commissioners' reports?
Thank you. I have nothing to report.
Alan?
I have nothing to report as well.
Okay. John?
I am sorry I missed the May meeting. I was in the Midwest, burying my brother-in-law, at the National Veterans Cemetery in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So I'm sorry I missed that. And then we had 2 cancellations, so I'm like reintroducing myself too. Great to be back, and a lot of good work was done in May, I can see.
Move to you, Kevin.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. On my side, I continue to work on the Lacey Leader project. Seen a lot of pictures of the Mad Festival lately. So, sort of way to say, and took a lot of pictures on a couple of those Mad Festivals. But I don't have anything else to report at this particular time. So I guess we'll turn to you, Jen, for the museum curator and director reports.
Yeah, so just quickly for the curator report, our museum coordinator reports, July had great attendance. There were 63 people total that came to the museum. And of those 63, 40 of them participated in the craft project, which is the rock painting activity. So that's been really fun, and people have really gotten into that. So just a brief one there. And then as far as I'm concerned, director report, I do have a few things. I want to let you know the Museum and Cultural Center Funding Strategy Committee meeting that was scheduled for June 27th was canceled due to the city council retreat getting scheduled for that same day. The council retreat did take place that day at the Thurston County Fairgrounds. And then I'll report the next funding strategy committee meeting is coming up next week on August 29th at 9:00 a.m. And Chair Keough, I know that you're not going to be there.
Either.
And Commissioner Halverson, you will be there, so I will see you then. I also have an update regarding the Parks Improvement Funding Work Group. So after being updated about challenges and opportunities that Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Department identified with all of your help and from the public in that comprehensive plan, that was reported out to council, and then in June, the council approved a resolution to form an ad hoc Parks Improvement Funding Work Group. So we had just over 50 people from the community apply.
Wow.
To be on that ad hoc committee. There was a 3-member council committee that the council had appointed to select and recommend the members for this ad hoc committee. And so there are now 9 voting members and 6 ex officio members of that work group. The final committee was approved at the August 6th council meeting, and then our first meeting was actually this past Monday, August 19th. We didn't get into the meat of anything. It was a lot of training, orientation and overview of what the work group will be doing. And that is, as outlined in the resolution 1156 that formed the work group, and that was adopted by City Council. The Parks Improvement Funding Work Group's purpose is to review parks expansion and replacement projects identified in the 6-year Parks Capital Improvement Program, analyze all available funding options, and recommend to the Lacey City Council a funding package identifying funding sources, including recommended amounts to be able to implement a prioritized list of parks capital projects. And that will hopefully come to the council by the end of this year. That's a mouthful, but to boil it down, we'll have staff subject matter experts come in and talk to the work group committee. So we'll have our parks maintenance supervisor, we'll have someone from the capital projects team and talk about some of the bigger projects and what all goes into that timeline, et cetera. We'll have our finance director come and speak, et cetera. But they will review that Parks Capital Improvement Program and then potential funding sources that are available. Maybe the work group has funding sources that they want to bring forth as an idea. Then the work group will review and consider those options versus the needs of the community, and finally develop a formal recommendation to the council. Like I said, that should be, and that will prioritize the projects and funding solutions, and the hope is to have this recommendation finalized, like I said, hopefully beginning of December, but we'll just have to see how the work group goes. So anyway, kind of exciting work, and that is officially kicked off. The next meeting is September 16th. And those are all public meetings,
How
so,
often is that meeting?
what's that?
How often is that meeting? Once a month?
So it's actually a couple of times a month. It was only once a month in August, because we were still getting it all set up. So there's a schedule. And it's a couple of times, let's see, I think it's twice in September, do you recall, Copyright?
The 16th.
30th, I wanna say? 16th, yeah, 16th and 30th, so they're Monday nights. And then there's 2 meetings in October, and I believe 2 in November, and we actually have a tour in October as well. So again, if anyone's interested, you know, they will be public meetings. It's an official committee of the advisory committee for the city council. So they'll be, you know, available via Zoom or in person, and everything will be recorded, with the exception of the tour, but the tour is still, you know, a public opportunity as well, so, yeah. And then just to report that Carter and I met with the Lacey Community Foundation representative, Jenny Folia Jones, again in June, July, and August, since we've last met. So that work is still going forward. She is working on a fundraising plan with some recommended fundraising events included in that. Erin joined us at the July meeting and shared additional context for the new museum project regarding, you know, how the spaces will be used to kind of help the person coming up with a fundraising plan, kind of visualize that and get some more information. Jenny is also touring the museum this week, and she's gonna be doing some other touring as well. And then in the coming meetings, we'll work to solidify the strategies for annual fundraising efforts and funding sources. And as always, we'll keep you updated on that work. I just wanted you to know it's continuing, and she's working toward the final deliverables are the end of March of 2025, or before that date, depending on how quickly the work goes. And then something that's interesting is that the Ken Balsley Memorial Bench dedication took place. We haven't met since then. So I'm just reporting out that occurred May 30th at Civic Plaza. And I just wanted to publicly thank those of you who attended, and it was just a very special gathering. I unfortunately wasn't able to be there, but staff reported and council members reported that it was just a wonderful event, and there were a lot of really great photos, and it was a wonderful time. And one last thing is just, we had our second annual volunteer appreciation picnic on August 14th at Rainier Vista Park. I was able to go this year, and I just want to thank those who were able to make it, so. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Jen?
I do. I was at an event recently where my friend and former mayor, Mark O. Brown, said he got picked for that commission. Who are the other 8?
Yes, let's see.
Suppose I can find out by watching on 17th, or 16th, but if you happen to know, that's all right. I was just
I
curious.
know some of them off the top of my head, but we actually have a presentation. Oh, thanks, Carter. Yeah, I was gonna say, we can probably bring up the slide from that meeting. Thank you, Carter. Voting members, Mark Brown, Kathleen Cook, and these are in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Mark Brown, Kathleen Cook, James Eichner, Karen Eidecker, Brooklyn McReynolds, and she's our youth member, Rachel Murata, Philip Roybal, Yvette Temple, and Sherry Wilkins. So these are the 9 voting members, and they live within the city limits or the urban growth area of Lacey. And then there are 6 non-voting members. So Wendy Goodwin from the Parks Board, Jonathan Hegwood from Commission on Equity. We have Daphne Reslaf from the Planning Commission, Ruth Weigelt from the LTAC committee, or Lodging Tax Committee. And then we have two members who bring expertise that are outside the city limit. They're non-board, current board members, but they're outside the city limit and the UGA. And that's Lauren Howard, and Haley Ortega. So
Good group.
those are the 15. Yeah, good question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Jen. That comes to the end of our agenda. As noted at the bottom, the next meeting is coming up. We have a meeting coming up on September 18th. And the New Museum and Cultural Center Funding Strategy Committee meets next week. Those things noted, I would, unless we have anything else somebody wants to suggest for the agenda, I would welcome a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Yay.
Thank you.
6:47.
Another well-run meeting, Jim.
Well.
Actually kind of surprised you think